HOMEGROWN THEATRE. Make a puppet. Learn how to puppeteer. Make a theatre. Use your body.
Hi everyone, I'm Amber Rose, one of the co-founders of Moth Physical Theatre. We were meant to be performing our show Wild Wilma at Beverley Puppet Festival, which is a show about being wild, free and connecting with nature. But instead, we have created a series of making and performance videos to help you make your own homegrown theatre, using sustainable and eco-friendly materials that you can source from your house, your garden or on your walks.
Hi, I'm Chelsea from Moth Physical Theatre and I'm going to show you how to make your very own woodland puppet. You will need 2 scrap pieces of cardboard, 1 small stump of wood for the head, 1 medium stump of wood for the body, 2 long pieces of twigs for arms, 2 long pieces of twigs for legs, 2 twigs in the shape of a right angle for the handles, 4 leaves, 1 pencil, a ball of string, 1 pair of scissors, PVA glue or a hot glue gun, 1 paintbrush, 1 pillowcase, and decorations of your choice. Lay out the body, legs and scissors ready to prep the leg joints. Using your pencil, mark a line just over halfway down one leg. Now mark a line on the other leg using the first leg as a guideline. Carefully cut each leg with the scissors on the line. Using your scissors, cut a diagonal on the back of the leg. Repeat this on the bottom half of the leg, mirroring the diagonal line on the top half of the leg. Now you can see the knee joint. Repeat this process on the other leg. Cut a square piece of fabric from your pillowcase. With your pencil, using the legs as a guide, mark a line on the fabric to create a rectangle, like this. This will help to connect both parts of the leg together to make the knee joint. With your scissors, cut out the shape. Cut out a second rectangle using your first rectangle piece as a guide. Take the paintbrush and the top half of one of the legs and cover the diagonal with glue. Take 1 piece of fabric and place it onto the diagonal so that half is hanging off. Paint over the top of the fabric with PVA to secure it to the leg. Repeat this process with the top half of the other leg. Using the other scrap piece of cardboard, leave the 2 top pieces of legs to dry. Whilst the top pieces of the legs are drying, let's prep the leaves. Using your PVA, cover all 4 leaves in glue. Now leave the wings to dry, this will help keep them strong. Once the legs are dry, bring back the top pieces along with the bottom pieces ready to glue. The bottom pieces are now going to be glued onto the other half of the fabric, so the diagonal is mirrored. Carefully place the bottom piece onto the other half of the fabric. This part is a little tricky. It may be easier if you lay both the pieces down whilst gluing. Repeat the same process on the other leg. Leave the legs to dry. Lay out the body, arms, pencil and scissors ready to prep the arm joints. Using your pencil, mark a line just over halfway down. Mark a line on the other arm using the first arm as a guideline. Then cut diagonally just like you did with the leg pieces. Using the fabric, you need to cut out 2 rectangle strips to connect the arm joints, just like we did for the legs. Take the top and bottom part of one of the arms and place it on the fabric. With your pencil, using the arm as a guide, mark a line on the fabric to create a rectangle like this. Cut out 2 rectangle pieces. We're going to repeat the same gluing process for the arms that we did with the legs. Don't forget to only glue the 2 top pieces first, as they need time to dry before gluing the bottom pieces. We're now going to glue the 2 bottom arm pieces to the top pieces, just like we did with the legs. Let's leave them to dry. Using the scissors and pencil, cut 2 pieces of string roughly 30 centimeters in length. Place the string to one side and bring out the body piece and the fabric. Using the back of the body piece, trace a line around the lower half to create a small square onto the fabric. Cut the small square out. This will be used to attach the legs to the body. Now do the same process for the top half of the body. Place both pieces of the fabric on the back of the body just to make sure they're big enough. Bring back the leg pieces. Make sure that both the joints bend. Now we're going to attach one of the legs to the body. For this, you will need the PVA glue. Let's begin the wrap, knot and glue process. Using one piece of string, wrap it around the top of the leg piece and tie a knot. Then wrap the string around twice and knot it. If you have enough excess string, double knot it. Glue over the string to secure it to the leg. Now you're going to attach the leg to the body. Make sure that the piece of fabric for the leg joint is facing upwards. Leave roughly half a centimetre gap between the leg and the body. This will help the leg move. Place the string over the lower half of the body and begin adding plenty of glue. Take the lower back piece of fabric and glue this over the string. Glue on top of the fabric and cover all edges to make it strong. Whilst we wait for it to dry, let's bring back the leaves to tie them together. Now that the leaves are dry, we're going to need the PVA glue, the ball of string and the scissors. Cut the string at roughly 10 centimeters. Take 2 of the leaves and place them together. Using the string, wrap around the stem of the leaves roughly 4 times and tie a knot. Make sure to leave some excess string as we're going to need that later. Let's repeat this process with the remaining 2 leaves. Glue over the string to secure it. Time to let them dry. Let's get back to constructing the body. First, make sure the wings are dry. Next, we need to prep the fabric to help attach the head and the wings to the body. Using the back of the head as a guideline, place it onto the fabric and trace around it. You only need to trace a square that covers half the back of the head. Cut out the small square and place the head and the fabric to one side. Now it's time to cut a square of fabric for the wings. Take both sets of wings and place the stems inwards. Mark a big enough square to fit around the stems. cut out the square piece of fabric. Using the string, cut out roughly 7 centimeters in length. This will connect the head to the body. Now it's time to glue the string and fabric to the head. Place the string halfway down the back of the head. Place the fabric over the string and the head, then seal it with plenty of glue. Let's leave the head to dry. The body is dry and the leg piece is attached, so let's glue one of the arms. We're going to glue the arm on the opposite side of the leg. Remember to check the joints are still bendy. We're going to repeat the wrap, knot and glue process that we did with the leg for the arm. Make sure that the piece of fabric for the arm joint is facing inwards towards the body. We're also going to attach the head as well as the arm. Make sure both strings are placed in a cross shape like this. Leave roughly a 1 centimeter gap between the body and the head. This allows the head to move. Make sure to use plenty of glue as this is a little bit tricky. Place the top half of fabric for the body over the cross shape and secure it with glue. Carefully leave the body to dry. Repeat these steps for the other arm and leg. Let's give your woodland puppet wings. You're going to need the leaves, PVA glue, paintbrush and the small piece of fabric that you prepped earlier. Apply the glue on the back of the body here for the wings. Place the excess pieces of string from both wings so that the stems are pointing inwards. You're going to glue the fabric over the top of the string to secure it. You can shorten the fabric if necessary. Apply lots of glue to help it stick. Carefully leave it to dry. Now that the head, wings, legs and arms are all dry, let's attach the handles. Cut roughly 2 7cm rectangles out of the fabric. Make sure that you have one short section and one long section on each of the right angle twigs. First, we need to cover the back of the head in glue. This will attach to the back of the head secured by the fabric. Glue over the short section of the twig. Place the twig to one side and cover one side of the fabric in glue. Place the short section onto the middle of the back of the head like this. Using your fabric, lay it over the short section and onto the back of the head to secure it. Use plenty of glue over the top of the fabric. Repeat the same gluing process with the remaining right angle twig and leave to dry. Now the handles are dry, cut off any excess fabric. It's time to add the decorations. Make sure you have the PVA glue and a paintbrush. I'm using moss, wool and scrap material. Make sure to use plenty of glue. Use your imagination and glue the decorations to suit the character you're building. Your woodland puppet is now finished. Well done!
Hi everyone, my name's Amber Rose from Moth Physical Theatre and this is Charlie. Hello! And today we're going to show you how to operate your woodland puppet using the basic principles of puppetry. So we're going to begin by picking up our puppet by the rods that we've made on our woodland puppet, using our index fingers and thumbs. This gives us more control and fluidity when operating our puppet. However, if you want to operate the arm of your puppet as well, you can do this by taking the rod of the head and the rod of the body in one hand like so. This then means you are free to operate the arm of your puppet with your other hand.
If we hold the puppet using our whole hands, it can restrict the puppet's movement, as well as taking the focus away from the puppet and towards the puppeteer's hands.
The next thing we need to think about is focus. As puppeteers, it's really important that we're looking at our puppet. If we're not, the audience could be distracted by our faces. It's also important to know what the puppet is focusing on. If it's unclear where the puppet's looking, the audience might be confused. You can practice focus by picking a point for the puppet to stare at and looking straight at it. The next principle we look at is breath. Breath is really important because it lets the audience know that the puppet is alive. On this puppet, we can show that it's breathing by gently moving the head backwards and forwards. The other thing that breath shows is how the puppet is feeling. For example, if the puppet was feeling scared, it might breathe quicker and deeper. If the puppet was feeling relaxed, it might take in a really big sigh like this. So the final principle that we're going to talk about is weight. This gives our puppet mass and muscularity. So it's always important to show that your puppet's feet are planted on the floor as to not float away. Now, we're going to show you how to do a quick jump. This starts with a bend in the knees, a spring up, and a quick land. Now we'll do it all together. What we don't want to do is have our puppet float off the ground without any preparation, like this. As that looks like gravity doesn't exist. And once you feel ready and confident, you can then take your puppet for a little walk using all of the principles we've just learnt. Alternatively, if you don't have anyone at home that you can operate your puppet with, you can operate it as one person, using just the head rod and the body rod, and then finding the rhythm and the way that your puppet likes to move organically. It doesn't matter what it looks like because it's a mythical creature, so it will have its own unique walk. Then, when you feel comfortable, you can add a prop into the mix. In our case, we found an old plant pot in the garden.
Hello, I'm Emma from Moth Physical Theatre, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own indoor or outdoor theatre.
Here's what you will need: one cardboard box, one pair of scissors, one paintbrush, poster paint of any colour, a light source, for example, a phone torch or lamp, one blanket or bedsheet, cushions, decorations, and one table. More about that later. Top tip: all boxes are different shapes and sizes. If your box has two flaps used as a lid, they can be made into your theatre's curtains. Don't worry if not, your box theatre will be just as great without. First, you will need your cardboard box and scissors. You might want to get an adult to help you with this bit. Turn your box upside down and cut along all four sides. Now you're ready to paint. You might want to lay down some newspaper to protect your work surface. And here is one I made earlier. Make sure you paint the inside too. Time to set up the space. Here's where your table comes in. Cover your table with a blanket or sheet so your body is hidden whilst puppeteering. Next, grab your cardboard theatre and set it on the table. Time to decorate. I'm using funky fabric and fairy lights to jazz up my theatre, but you can use anything you wish. Next, your lighting. I've chosen a lamp to light my theatre. Your audience will need somewhere to sit. Here's where your cushions or chairs come in. And here you have your very own at-home theatre, which is easily transportable and can be used outside too.
Hi, my name is Charlie and I'm going to be showing you how to use your body to create the world for your puppet. We're going to create the image of grass blowing in the wind. Place your hands side by side with either your thumbs or your little fingers pressed together. We create the image of a gentle breeze by slightly wiggling the fingers. If we want to imagine a stronger breeze is coming along, we wiggle our fingers quicker to one side as though the wind is pushing them in that direction. Try it in different directions and see what it looks like and how it can add an extra layer of imagery to your puppetry. You can make it as big or as small as you want, depending on the size and strength of the breeze. The elements. Air. We can't see air or wind, but we can see its effect on the world. We're going to create the image of waves. Start with your hand like this. Curve the tips of your fingers down and allow your wrists to come up in opposition. When your hand is straight, curve your fingers up and allow your wrists to come down. Repeat this motion, with the aim being to make the movement flow. You can do it as big or small, as fast or slow, as you choose, depending on what story you're trying to tell. For a bigger wave, use your whole arm, again leading with the fingertips and allowing your elbow and shoulder to follow. To create a more layered image, add in a second arm, or more arms if there's more of you. Experiment with the size of the waves and the speed. Is it a gentle stream or a stormy ocean? Take both hands and press them together. Curl your fingertips down towards your palm and leave your thumbs on the outside. Then uncurl your fingers and allow them to separate and wiggle about. This creates the flame image. Curl your fingers back down. And at full speed we get a fiery explosion. Let's create an exploding volcano. Start with your hands like this and place them one in front of the other. Wiggle them about to create an earthquake, and then use the fire image for the eruption. Let the hands come forward and go past each other to take hold of the wrists, and let the fingers glute downwards as the fiery hot lava. We can't fit a mountain into our homes, but we can create one with our bodies. Get creative. Use different parts of your body to create the mountain. What shapes can you make for your puppet to clamber over and climb up? Picture yourself as a tree with a strong base and long branches. Try out different shapes. What kind of tree are you? Do you have strong branches, or do they break? We've created the world for our puppet, and now we need to travel through it. You can make it look as though your puppet is travelling forward by having it either fly or walk on the spot and making objects move past it. Here I've used the flowers, but you can use anything you find at home and want to include in your stories. I bring the objects in front of the puppet and then lift them up for the audience to see. Then move them backwards past the puppet and place them flat again, as though they've disappeared into the distance. Put both hands in front of you and curl down the fingers to create two L shapes. Flip one hand round and then connect the finger and the thumb of the opposite hand. A window to the world outside, puppet-sized. Now you can take your puppet on a real adventure. Imagine it's in a video game and you have to create the obstacles. You can make your puppet duck, dive and dodge, fall, slide and squeeze, crash and get squished. Have fun, be creative, experiment and take care.